Hello, today we are actually very honored to actually have Nisarg from Affable,
Yeah,
Affable.ai, right?
that's
Or
right.
is it Affable, just
Yeah,
Affable,
yeah.
right? And he's actually focused on influencer marketing, and he's based in Singapore, and definitely he's got 1 million influencers on your platform that you monitor.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. Okay. So we're gonna have a very interesting conversation, and okay, let's jump right in. Nisarg, can you just describe yourself and what do you do?
Sure. Thanks, Patrick, for having me on this. Really appreciate taking time for this. I'm one of the founders of Affable, where we are building an intelligence and insights platform for influencer marketing. Basically, the with the rise of influencer marketing becoming a new vertical for marketers, we noticed that there was a big problem where the whole process was just very manual and time consuming. There's a lot of guesswork involved in it, and we felt that using technology, especially with the advance of like machine learning and computer vision, we could bring in a lot of intelligence in the space, and that's where Affable comes in.
So you're in a unique space of marketing technology.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yes,
And so with that is a very, very competitive space.
yes.
So what do you bring to the table that's unique and new?
So with influencer marketing specifically being new, and within that, a lot of players are mostly in the space of providing it as a service. So you would see a lot of talent managers, influencer managers, agencies in that space. Where we come in is we say, look, we're gonna only focus on the tech aspect of it. So we basically developed a system where we can look at any public influencer today and look at, let's say, how many fake followers they have, which are the other brands they've worked with, which are other similar influencers like this influencer. Do they have the target audience that you want to reach, etc. Right? So providing that kind of data about just any influencer out there to help a marketer make a decision about which influencer to work with is something we bring it to the table.
So you only point the way,
Yes,
but do you set up the relationships as well?
we enable setting up the relationship so brands can find influencers on our platform and then reach out to them in one click. Literally, just type in a message, it can broadcast to maybe like hundreds of influencers in one click, and then measure the reach. Right, a big problem with the whole influencer economy is how do you know if it is being effective? Right? If you're a beauty brand targeting, let's say, skincare interested women in a particular country, how do you know that when these influencers uploaded campaign for you, it actually reached them, right? So Affable is an end-to-end platform which facilitates discovery, management, and measurement of influencer content.
Wow. And how long have you been at it?
We've been around for a year or so. So it started like last January, launched a very early prototype last June. And then we had tremendous positive response from the marketers, agencies, and brands in Singapore to start with, which validated the fact that there was an actual need of what we were building. And then it has been like a roller coaster growth from there.
Wow, it sounds like a rocket ship story. Okay, so you've been in the market for a year. You've ran the prototype for maybe just under a year,
Yeah.
right? And so, what is there a big success story that you can share with us? Something that you realize out of your platform or something
Right.
you could effect?
So in terms of success story, what a success for us is when a customer actually finds value in what they get when they use a platform, right? So recently a new beauty brand launched in Singapore. It's called For Me Glam. And as a part of the launch strategy, the founder wanted to focus solely on influencers. No Google ads, no Facebook marketing, just give a product to like a few hundred influencers and let the word spread. That was their strategy. But how do you find those 100 influencers who have the target audience, which is basically in the demographic of the brand's reach, right? The brand was targeting women, millennials in Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, and they were looking for influencers who could get them the reach. And when they looked up Affable, they ran some searches. Within a few clicks, they had the result. They reached out to them. And recently, we ran a report for them, and around 75% of all the engagement came from the target audience.
The women who are
Women who are
millennials.
millennials in these markets, right? Which was a big validation for us because we've been preaching that. Rather than working with big influencers who have maybe a few 100,000 followers, work with the ones which are more relevant for you. Work with the ones which can get you the reach which your brand commands, right? And every brand would have a different set of influencers they would work with. So yeah, for us, this is like, one of the bigger, I would say, win, because it was a big validation of what we were doing.
Okay, wow, that's wonderful. Okay, on the flip side, can you share with me, any major challenges that you have faced, operating in Asia or trying to reach?
So we are a startup, and as I mentioned, we've been around only for like a year or so, right? We have limited resources to run a business, right? And that includes limited manpower, etc. While startups here or SMEs are very agile or very fast in making decisions, you would find that enterprises are very slow, right, to make a decision. And when I'm saying this is from like the sales perspective, when I go to enterprises, and these are like either big brands or big agencies, you'd see they take a few weeks to a few months, sometimes over 6 months, to take a call on if they want to use the software or not, right? Which as a startup, it becomes, one is obviously takes a toll on your resources, but also like demoralizing because you're not kind of moving ahead anywhere, right? So I think in terms of challenge, the biggest that we face right now is if you have less capacity or manpower, then like going after the bigger enterprises is a very long process.
So for B2B marketers and business owners who are trying to reach Asia, I
Yes.
think there's something to really take note of.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's not just in Asia, but in Asia, I think maybe because we have a hierarchy,
yeah.
the kind of the order that
Yes.
we actually
And the
operate
decision
under.
maker is not always the person you're speaking with, and you want to make sure that you navigate right to the decision maker, and then it might be expedited. But otherwise, definitely, the slowness in the process. And actually, to add one more thing, right? Here, people are very cautious about where they spend, right? Like tight on pockets, the way they say it, which is good and bad. Good because then if they're spending on your product, then you know for sure that they really like it. But bad because then again, you need to really educate and convince them that what you're providing them is value for their money.
Okay, and I think this is definitely valuable information for people who want to start and run and grow
Yeah.
their business in Asia.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so Nisarg, can you share with me one big thing that is happening in Asia, that all the marketers in the world really need to know about?
I feel that given how millennials are these days interacting, and given the rise in millennial buyers in this region particularly, word of mouth has been a huge opportunity and a huge trend. So over the last few years, and like bigger brands like Daniel Wellington, Pandora, Swarovski, Nike, Adidas, they are focusing on word of mouth. And this word of mouth could be through either user-generated content, or through publishers, or through micro-influencers who have vast reach to the millennial buyers, right? And to give you some statistics, we did like an annual survey of 2018 in influencer marketing last year, and some of the brands like Tokopedia, Daniel Wellington, Lazada, they worked with over 1,000 influencer content in 1 year. If you think about it, that's like more than 3 posts a day.
Wow.
Right? And what that means is brands in this part of the world are pushing, and they're pushing the bar. And this is more than like the bigger developed countries, because here it works, right? These content creators create amazing content. They resonate with the target audience with the right message, and they see the sales. So a lot of brands, as I mentioned, the beauty brand, they are ditching Facebook ads, Google ads to directly and only focus on word of mouth marketing.
Wow, and that's quite amazing.
Yeah.
And that's why you're focused in the influencer market then.
Yeah, it just makes sense. I think this is the right time for us to be in this space, in this part of the world. We've set up in Singapore, which has great connectivity with the rest of Asia. A lot of decision makers of companies that operate in Asia sit out of Singapore, and gives us also an edge in just being that Asia-focused influencer marketing platform.
Excellent. Okay, Nisarg, thank you very much for your sharing today. And like you heard from him, word of mouth in Asia, it works and it actually sells.
Yeah.
Right? So catch us as we go into the next in-depth segment where we will be sharing a little bit more about in the Asia Marketing Summit on what's happening in Affable, as well as how we're actually going to go deep into the stories that Affable has actually created in the last 1 year.
Thanks a lot, Patrick, for having me.
Thank you very much.